make anyone ill, but they expect someone to be ill soon. Of course someone has to be ill first. It's only logical.
How clever of them to use logic in such cases.
Yes, logic and sickness go hand in hand these days.
My dear friend, I have some terrible news.
Well, my goodness, dear fellow, do tell me.
The doctors are talking about a new disease, one with horrible symptoms.
Well, my goodness, what are the symptoms?
Oh, they haven't decided on the symptoms yet. They just know they are horrible.
Well, my goodness, when will they decide what the symptoms will be?
As soon as they name it. You know naming things takes a lot of thought.
Well, my goodness, you don't think the disease will have a lot of syllables, do you? I'm so dreadfully frightened by diseases with a lot of syllables in their names. They're generally the worst.
I think they may name it after a plant, or more likely an animal. They do that now, you know, now that they use etymological anthropomorphy.
Well, my goodness, that is better than using epistemological zoology in such a case.
Well, I much prefer it to the old way of using tautological repetition.
Well, in any case, I hope they don't name it after dogs, since dogs are so very primitive. I would hate to dislike them over such a trivial thing as ontological pathology.
Either way, once it is named and the symptoms are decided on, then they can move on to deciding how it gets to be transmitted. I hear that's the fun part. Deciding how it is transmitted is so much more fun than, say, describing its symptoms, especially if they are not fatal.
Well, my goodness! For their sake, I hope they can find a few fatal symptoms just to prevent boredom on their part.
Leave it to the experts, I say, but for their sakes, I hope they do. Scientists who get bored are such dangerous creatures.
Did you hear? There's a new disease running rampant in the city. Heavens, a new disease? What's it called? It's unnamed, but I hear it's from Africa. I heard it was from Australia. I heard it was from Amsterdam. All the deadliest diseases come from Amsterdam. I would have rather it come from somewhere less frightening. Somewhere like France. French diseases are so terribly rude. I prefer German diseases. They get the job done. Or Antarctica. I hear their diseases are the easiest to name. Still, an unnamed disease. It really is a wonder the things scientists do these days. I heard the disease is fatal in 20% of cases. You don't say. Well, that doesn't seem like a very high percentage for a brand new disease. They really should do better when they come up with these things. Well, you would think, wouldn't you? They just don't do the quality of work they used to. I heard that the other party has already come out against the disease. You don't say. Our party would never do such a thing. They're always in favor of scientific progress. That's why I always vote twice when I vote for our party. Always twice on the same day.
Outrage!
Such a scandal! How embarrassing for our country to just now get our own disease!
Scandal!
When all the other civilized countries have had their own for years!
Travesty!
It's such an important area, when even the poorest nations have had theirs already named. Symptoms decided, and a waiver to be transmitted already picked out!
Outrage! Scandal! Travesty! First they announce a new cure, then they forget to inform us of the disease. I would like to know what I was supposed to catch before they found if it was fatal or not.
Don't worry. They won't let you catch anything until it's completely ready.
What if someone were to get it already? Mistakes about such things often lead one to question their own mortality.
There's always one way to confirm your mortality.
I know. I could just die. But I prefer to do it in steps, like the rich do. A little piece at a time instead of all at once. Only poor people die all at once.
Well, I heard they're waiting for someone to be first before they name the disease.
Well, I don't want to be the first to catch the disease. Being first is always worse in cases like these.
Only in some cases. In others, being last means you had to clean up after the ones who went before you.
Being first in those things means you have to make all the mistakes for everyone else. What if I didn't get it right?
I should think they'd make you do it again. It's important they get a good start on this area, or the disease will never be properly appreciated.
A new disease, and they don't even have they volunteered for first? They'll just have to pick someone and no one steps forward.
What if they choose by lottery? Then what will we do? We often win lotteries.
I simply won't purchase a ticket. That's the way you fix that.
I hate to lose it. You lose twice as often when you don't play the game.
Do you know what I heard about the disease? I heard that it's fatal in 100% of cases now.
Well, to get to 100% so early, they must have cut corners.
You can't expect a proper outcome if you cut corners.
Corners are the only thing that separates us from all the rest of the animals. Corners, algebra, thumbs, and a proper respect for fatality.
You just can't rush a thing like fatality and hope to be successful.
I really wish they would have taken their time. Diseases like this only leads to disaster.
My fellow citizens, I call on you to listen. I have just come from a meeting with our best doctors, most knowledgeable scientists, most gifted zoologists, and the most thorough researchers to announce something of great importance. I regret to say that a new disease has been introduced and begun to infect our population, even before the symptoms have arrived.
I thought they came up with a cure first, in cases such as this.
I ask that you remain calm. Of course, it would have been better if the name had been decided upon before the symptoms arrived. But in any case, the disease is already among us, waiting, lurking, ready to pounce with 100% fatality. We are confident that the first victims are to begin suffering once the name has been selected. Until then, look both ways before crossing the street.
Well, don't look at me.
If the symptoms are as bad as they say,
If they had taken it first, I might feel more comfortable.
As it stands, I don't think I want to be the first to test it out.
Well, my husband would never let me do something 100% fatal. He draws the line at 70%.
Who said 100%?
I heard it was 200% fatal.
They really have overdone it now.
Just like them to go too far.
It just makes me want to cry thinking about how such a thing starts and then gets ruined in the end.
What if it's true? What if the disease is impossible to cure until it gets named?
Then we'll have to be on the lookout. Maybe this thing's do like to sneak up on you.
Do you think it'll be disguised?
It is easier to sneak up on someone when wearing a disguise. It could be right here with the snout, disguised as an itch, a sniffle, or a thought.
That's why I try to avoid thoughts. They're always making things confusing.
It's best to rely on feelings. They are always the best measure.
I'm beginning to feel a little unwell.
You see, she's already got
At
it.
least I didn't have to be the first.
Well, are you sure you haven't? Wait! No, this is a little gang. She's panicking at the bar.
That's a bad sign.
Let me try again. Help us, we are doomed now. Keep playing. A curse.
incurable.
What a horrible pain!
What are we going to do? I know it's already spreading in the slums.
It will spread from them to the ignorant.
Then to the dirty!
And then from me.
They will get it in the end!
The thought of it.
It's already a plague. An epidemic. A contagion. A scourge.
Terror.
My fellow citizens, do not panic yet. Be patient and wait to panic until after we name this new threat. It is only after a threat is named do the symptoms begin to arise. Then you may panic. Panicking earlier only accelerates its incubation.
I heard the symptoms are horrible.
You should report symptoms immediately so we can record them properly. This makes the naming process so much easier. Once we have named it, then and only then can you report to the nearest undertaker immediately. Don't waste time with the hospitals, for the disease is 300% fatal in most cases and 400% in others. As a precaution, all gatherings are hereby forbidden. The gates to our city have been locked, so other nations cannot take credit for our discovery. You are all urged to remain indoors until the disease is cured entirely, or named, whichever comes first. In times like these, we plan for success.
Terrified! I'm terrified!
Hush, darling. Why are you terrified?
Well, they say it is carried in the air.
Who says that?
They say it!
Well, if they say it, then it must be true. They are always right.
asteroids and volcanoes and termites.
Oh, I'm really, really terrified.
What should we do?
Maybe we should shut the doors and the windows to start with. Keep the disease out till it is properly named. I think that's our safest bet. After all, books on such cases are quite clear on the proper steps one should take. A good book can teach you so much.
Oh, yes. And if it says it in books, we really must do it then. After all, who can we trust more than writers? Especially those who write fiction. Other writers are criminals. I never trust an essayist or a playwright when it comes to things like this. They all lie so terribly.
Especially the playwrights.
Well, we must close them up tight. Once the disease is named, we can open them up again. But for the time being, we must keep the batter out and the good air in.
This was recommended.
What will we use?
Glue might work.
Yes, see them with glue. Hurry now, my dear. We don't want us to sneak in while we are looking. Dear, hurry, we don't want to get in.
I'm working as fast as I
We
can.
have to hurry. The disease will wait for us to glue the windows.
There, all done. Now what else can we do? I'm terrified.
We could get under the covers. That should help protect us.
Yes, I'll get the covers.
Hurry, dear.
Covers keep away the monsters of the young and the plagues of the old.
Do you see it? No.
Oh, I'm still terrified. What if it's already in here? What will we do then?
Close our noses.
I've never learned a very efficient way of doing that without wiggling my ears by accident.
I've heard ear wiggling may be a symptom. We'll have to find another way. We don't want to invite trouble.
I don't invite trouble when I can avoid it. Sometimes it just shows up, unannounced.
Well, then what can we do?
We could use clothespins.
Yes, you're so very clever, my dear. I'm so proud of you. You pin mine and I'll pin yours. But perhaps we should use the glue as well.
We could both pin them and glue them to be extra certain. A little extra certainty, even when you aren't convinced that a thing is sure to work.
Oh, my love, you impress me with your intelligence. There's never been a man smarter.
Not as intelligent as you, my dear. You've always been the clever one.
Oh, you make me blush. No? Okay.
Oh, I'm still terrified! If our noses are closed, then it may seek another way to try to infect us.
Well, if we close our mouths, then we should be safe.
Keeping mouths shut? No, that's often harder than closing them to begin with. What will we do to keep them shut?
We can always sew them shut. I have an excellent seamstress.
But you can never see your own face to do it yourself. The photo? No, that wouldn't give any help. Mirrors? They're not the lie.
Well, then, we shall simply have to use glue.
What a novel idea. I'm so proud of you, my dear.
As I am with you.
Glue will never hold if we don't apply pressure.
A kiss often applies the best kind of pressure.
Kiss is often the first step to a perfect bond.
Wait, dear, you've always been romantic.
Oh, I will be interested, and you will be my Uzo band. We will seal it with the kiss to keep out the bad air and keep in the good.
Kiss me then, it will be safe from every danger except one.
What danger is that?
Why, the most dangerous sickness of all. Love sickness.
It's rarely fatal. Besides, it only nauseates those around the patient. Now, come on. What are we waiting for?
First the glue.
Then the covers, then the kiss.
You're so very brave, my dear, and wise as well.
Let's kiss then, and we'll be safe together. 1, 2, 3.
Are most likely spread through the air by bird or bee or airborne children's kites. Such things should be outlawed and prohibited, or at the very least taxed. That's it. Tax the disease. Tax it. Tax it. Tax it. Tax it. Well, it will have to have a name for the tax board. All tax forms do
Somewhere safe. Somewhere where diseases and flowers and cold never go. How about the oven? I can hide in the oven. Oh, what a grand idea. You always were a smart child. We'll hide you in the oven to keep you safe. And if you get cold, we can always turn it on. The disease will never think to live in there.
Continues to defy the naming process. Our professors of intestinology, clinical neurology, quantum morphology, and chromosomeology are currently working on this issue. Until it is named, you will all urge to avoid the indoors, closed spaces, the underside of covers, and if that's all possible, to keep your nose and your mouth open so the disease can escape.
My wife heard from a reliable source,
Friend of her dentist,
hairdresser, pedicure, acupuncture, that it is most likely the result of
Political instigation.
liberal provocation,
conservative retribution,
and they still haven't named it.
My husband said that. It called us itching, burning, bleeding, coughing. Yes, shuddering. And that's only half the cases.
Our counselors and cabinet have suggested that citizens be prepared for this malady to assume any form. Things once considered harmless, such as kites, kittens, cellophane, and glue, should now be avoided. Remember, a watched pot never boils.
I
Even
think it's
a rose
possible
has
by
its
too many tomatoes,
Not enough beef.
Too many onions,
not enough greens,
or all the above.
I feel it looking over my shoulder, ready to attack.
You really mustn't let it bother you. The disease will never attack without a name. Things must always attack in the name of something, or else it loses its meaning.
Yes, but a sneak attack may still be possible.
True. Sneak attacks are best made anonymously. But what can we do to defend against such a threat?
Perhaps we could set a trap for it. Lie in wait, and then grab it when it passes. Then we could name it against its will, and it would all be downhill from there.
That only works in certain circumstances, such as war, chess, economics, and bacon.
What is to be done?
We'll just have to trick the disease into thinking that we are dead, and then it will have no reason to bother with us.
But wouldn't it just be simpler to, I don't know, die? The contagion would never see through such a plan.
Pretending is much more fun. And besides, dying takes effort and concentration. It's not nearly as easy as acting.
Well, then we will just activate it. I will remind you that you can't play act without a certain amount of spectacle. That's what the best philosophers indicate. We will need scenery.
Of course, the proper scenery is the only thing which can make our performance believable. I suggest we use coffins. Nothing makes death more believable than coffins.
You know that to complete the illusion, we will surely need to be buried. Without dirt on top, a coffin is only an illustration of a grave.
You will find an undertaker to act as a stage manager and a mortician to apply the grease paint.
We should have a rehearsal.
Certainly. We will rehearse, and then we will find someone to bury us in our scenic coffins to complete the illusion.
I heard that.
The coffins are piling up.
The dead are running the streets.
The cemeteries are overflowing.
I think that
The morticians are making a killing.
undertakers are taking over.
The grave diggers are gaining ground.
So I decided to get in on the ground floor.
Invest for the really long term.
Make my profit on bare bosses. But without a name.
The bug fell
The
out.
market just died.
I was buried in debt.
Citizens, the disease still refuses to be named. Mind you, although this is troublesome, we are working diligently to provide you with a proper disease, not some third-rate imitation other nations might accept, but a disease in which any nation would take pride. Remember, stick to your guns.
I swear, I got it.
You can't possibly have it if you have no symptoms.
I know, but perhaps that is the symptom.
Dear, if you have it, you can at least have some symptoms, so it would be easier on all of us.
Oh, I've tried, and none seem to be coming to me right off.
If you want me to believe you, you'll just have to do better.
How would I do that?
Well, to start with, you can at least cough a little. Coughs always seem to apply in situations like this.
Is that better?
Oh, dear, it's still not convincing me.
Oh, but I really am trying.
Well, perhaps cough syrup would help. Coughs are always much more productive when they're working against something.
Yes, I think it is best to take the medication most suited to the disease I expect to have. Give it to me.
Oh, you're doing fine, my dear. You're almost convincing. Almost.
Almost, but it's obvious. I'm on death's doorstep. And still you don't believe me?
It's not because I don't love you.
How about gasping? Would gasping help?
Maybe a little.
I'll try.
Perhaps smelling salt would help you gas. I just happen to have some handy if you like.
Yes, of course I want some.
Oh, you're doing fine here, but something is missing. I think your cough has disappeared.
Then quick, I'll try the syrup again.
Oh, you're doing much better, dear, but truthfully, something is still missing.
Well, what else can I do?
Maybe you could shudder a little.
Is shuddering a symptom?
Only in the most severe cases, and I'm sure yours is only a mild case.
Oh, no, I'm sure I have the worst case possible. The shuddering might start at any moment. I was just waiting for the right moment to suffer. I wouldn't want to waste good suffering without someone there to appreciate it.
How considerate of you, my dear. You are always so careful about the miseries you choose. Can I help you with the shuddering? I just love to take care of you when you are trying to get sick.
Perhaps a small shock would encourage the extra electrons to make the disease easier to see. If you would just turn that knob there, while I hold these here.
Oh, anything for you, love. Just tell me when.
The sooner we start, the sooner you will believe me. Go ahead, my dear. It is important for you to see just how sick I really am.
Dear, I believe you have that. I believe you have that disease. Dear, my dear love, how cruel of this disease to take you without warning. But worry not. I will simply follow you into the grave. I will die of a broken heart.
Citizens, come, I have news to report. In some sectors, looters, vagabonds, and capitalists have seized upon the moment and robbed the grave of its proper importance. For this reason, we have enacted new laws restricting the sale and use of coffins, shrouds, and bone saws. We must insist that dying and death be kept to a minimum. Otherwise, we will never get to the symptoms, and that always delays the development of a cure. Remember, life's not fair. Life's not a bowl of cherries.
They say the name is the most important thing in any epidemic. If it's named properly.
It doesn't really count.
No matter how many die.
Or if the right people don't catch it, then it isn't worth catching. It's only worth catching once a king or queen, or a millionaire or two, or a cabinet member's wife, or someone more beautiful than you.
Guess it! Then it's a disease everyone wants. I simply must catch it twice now. If I am at the first, someone else will get the credit. And all of the fashionable diseases of our time have
ways of eluding even the best attempts of science. I know you're all disappointed with the delayed start in infections and pathologies and distempers our new disease offers, but it'll only get more difficult the days ahead. Remember, there are strength in numbers.
Better diseases, better morals, better disease.
Dying of a disease with no name so dreadfully common. I would much prefer to die of something more refined.
Perhaps decline leprosy. I hear it's all the rage on the continent.
Oh no, that's too European.
Malaria,
Too tropical.
Ebola,
Too exotic.
bubonic plague.
Too biblical.
Perhaps we should
Yes, all the greatest artists die of consumption. I have to find someone who's willing to share.
consumption it is then.
We're at war with an unnamed foe, a foe so crafty that it will most certainly suffer heavy losses before it is even recognized. In order to win, we must marshal our resources. Waste
What can we do? Where can we go? It's everywhere.
Maybe the air is safe since they got all the wings.
Well, I suppose we could try flying without wings.
But we would need a head start in order to outrun gravity.
Gravity is, after all, a legal concept. It's hard to outrun the law. We could try a tall building.
That's what we'll do. We'll find a tall building and outrun gravity as we fall off of
And
it.
we must forget to hit the ground. The disease will never find us if we do that.
Breaking news! The disease has reached epidemic proportions. Despite the fact there is no name, no symptoms, or even ways of transmission, thousands have insisted on dying.
But that seems easy. If we find something deadly that already has a name, it should scare off the disease. After all, you can only catch one disease at a time, and diseases don't like competition.
I've always heard strychnine is deadly. Maybe that would work.
I prefer arsenic. Strychnine upsets my stomach.
We will try a little something, just to be sure.
Nearly 70% of our populations have a bad taste to die. Your leaders have insisted that just die. And yet many of you have ignored the steps we all agreed upon. For this reason, we have brought in new laws restricting dying in public or in private. In short, you may neither die on the outside nor die on the inside without facing prosecution. Citizens, rest assured, we, the leaders of your fair city, are working every second of every day, except for days on bank holidays, to find a name for this affliction. Remember, beauty's in the eye of
The disease hasn't even been named, but I hear it has killed thousands already.
Victim's name the first go. I reach jealousy on its cards.
Well, it is very hard to go about your business when you aren't sure of who you are.
Names always tell us who we are. Why should plagues be any different? Everyone knows that naming diseases always makes them less lethal.
Or more friendly.
Or less unpredictable.
Or less recognizable.
I'm always more comfortable with fatal things when they're least recognizable.
I like when things are familiar. Familiar things are comforting.
Even a disease can make you feel comfortable if you hear its name enough.
A cure can make you feel even better.
Well, a disease don't have to wait to be named.
It's in the manual, and you can't go against the manual.
Well, the disease has already started killing people from what I hear.
Not very wise on the diseases part, if you ask me.
Dying before this disease has a name in which to kill you is simply immoral, unethical, and unfair. The laws against premature death are clear. Violators will be sentenced to life for even a short coma, extended melancholy, or transcendence, which involves a metaphoric death and as such cannot be tolerated. Remember, a life sentence is the harshest punishment that can be given to a human being.
Now, they have truly gone too far.
They have taken control of our
My party would have never taken such steps.
They can't outrun dying, can they?
It's been tried before, but that was in religion, not in politics.
I always said you can't legislate morality.
Morality has nothing to do with legislators. It isn't like their kind.
They're only doing it so they can tax morticians more. Taxes, taxes, and more taxes. You used to be able to count on taxes and death.
They're greedy for power.
Declare martial law.
They'll go to the Constitution in order to control the disease.
And once you control the diseases, you control the people.
Communists.
unnamed to prolong its effects, the disease has apparently lost its potency and its ability to overcome simple obstacles such as air, cold, flowers, and the common cough. Despite our best efforts, we simply must admit defeat. However, with the help of our numerous epidemiologists and dendrochronologists, there is always hope. We have discovered a new disease within the very heart of our societies. Unlike previous instances, this new disease will begin with symptoms, and a name will be decided upon once it has proven itself. Remember, sayonara, adios.
What?
See you
No
later.
way! Again?
You're kidding.
Symptoms? More symptoms? What happened to blood? A new disease?
What?
Again? What about the taxes? Next time, I'll use the dryer. I'll be the first to catch it.
I hope this one has symptoms.
It's 4 years next time. I'm glad I have one.
I'll leave my hut. I'm gonna win it any next time. Every fine this time. Excellent. Every flush.
This time I'll use the Undertaker as a director.
I hope it doesn't have a lot of syllables.
I'll find out what to take next time.
Oh, you really can't help that. We're all mad here.